And a big welcome from Oulton Park in Cheshire. It's absolutely glorious circuit set in the parkland of the Old Hall. This the 7th round of the MRO T3 Challenge, and a bit of a 600 fest this weekend. We start with the Dynapro Supersport 600s, and that will be followed by action from the Pirelli Metzler Stock Sport 600s. As near as you like, straight out the showroom production models. And then, a bit of a star attraction, the triumphs of the Triumph Triple Challenge. Great inaugural year last year, and been followed by excellent racing once again this year. But down on the grid, we have the first of the Dynapro Supersport 600 races, and on pole position, Rob Hoyles from Karen Hankin. Karen, first time we've seen him this year. Then Billy Mellor, and alongside Billy Mellor, Ben Lightower. That's your front row. Second row is David Jones on the Triumph, Richard Marchant, Max Hunt, and Mike Edwards. But lights go out and away they go, and it's the first drag race down into Old Hall, and Karen Hankin looks as though he's just nabbed the lead on for the very first time, just watching everyone safely through the corner there. Yes, it is Karen as he runs down through Cascades, and Rob Hoyles sticking with him like glue as they run down towards Ireland Bend. They go out along Lakeside, then that left-hand corner there, and then the approach into this amazing dished hairpin at Shell. Once again, the whole field streaming through there. Look at this glorious sight, the lake in the background. They then run up the steep hill towards Mountain Top, but there's a chicane in there. Britain chicane first, then over the top and down into the Hislop chicane, named of course for the late Steve Hislop. And this an all-action area as far as told you, as far as Oulton Park's concerned. A lot of guys out breaking themselves there. They come down the hill very hot, and they've got that safety runoff bit there, the old circuit at Knickerbrook, but they're not allowed to gain any advantage from that. Rob Hoyles gained the advantage back at the Shell hairpin, and here he is coming down into Lodge from Druids up the front. Karen Hankin still hanging on there a second, just ahead of Ben Lightower, as we watch the pack running down the steep drop into Deer Leap, then up again over the bump to complete the lap. And now we see exiting Old Hall, Ben Lightower just nipping by up into second. Billy Mellor there in fourth, and he's all over the case of Karen Hankin. So that leading four, a little bit of a break ahead of the field. Rob Hoyles really seems to have it nailed today. Karen Hankin running a little wide through Shell. That'll give great encouragement to Billy Mellor. Chase Collier up the hill there, and there, look, Casper Town, Andy Marriott, and Colin Stevenson working their way around the hairpin and then up over the top of the hill. Meanwhile, up front, the leaders down there, and there's the chase behind, being led by number 3. That's Mark Kringle. Mark, one of our riders this year over from the Isle of Man, and absolutely loving the hills, the curves of Oulton Park. Oh dear, another rider out breaking themselves there at Knickerbrook. And as the leaders come down towards Lodge, and we see behind Mark Kringle, Cy Langford. Cy, well, he's carrying number 7 unusually this weekend, and that is because number 7 is the number that's been campaigned all season by Max Exton. Max, who's recovering, and it's going to be a bit of a long recovery, but he's recovering in hospital after a nasty accident a couple of weeks ago. And Cy Langford sporting the number 7 in an attempt to just cheer Max up a bit. A lot of people doing a lot of that on Max's behalf. There's Cy on the number 7, leading Clubman Cup runner at the moment, but under pressure. We can see in that little group there Max Hunt, who is second in the rookie 600 championship this year. And there's Sarah Jordan making her way up out of Shell once again. But Rob Hoyles, fantastic run at the front. Ben Lightower hanging on to second, but under pressure now is Billy Mellor. Just ducks down the inside, and he will now move up into second place. Down Deer Leap he goes And Ben Lightoller trying to recover and get him around the outside. And look behind as well. There's Mark Kringle. He's squeezed up ahead of Karen Hankin. There they go down into Old Hall. This double Apex right-hander. And then down the avenue. Well, it used to be the avenue. It used to be trees growing right up against the edge of the track. And, well, Mark Kringle in a good third place. They come down through Cascades and run out towards Ireland. And red lights, red flags, medical car. Well, the action called to a halt there. And off down at Cascades. And the overall result then, a win for Rob Oils from Billy Mellor. Ben Lightoller was third, ahead of Mark Kringle. Karen Hankin was fifth, and David Jones in sixth place. There we see a very happy Rob Oils indeed, with Billy Mellor and Ben Lightoller. And then in the Clubman's Cup, well, the race winner there was young Max Hunt, receiving the congratulations from Cy Langford and Ben Cater. That's the 1, 2, 3 in the Clubman's. And now the Pirelli Metzler Stock Sport 600s, and a brilliant qualifying saw Nick Clark on pole from Ashley Chivers. Actually having a quick glimmer over there. Ben Lightoller was third in the standings, and Pat Sheridan, surprisingly for some, many think he's the quickest rider out there, but only fourth on the grid. Second row, Tom Gazzard, Grant Whittaker, Danny Hedger and Dan Fowler. But red lights out and away they stream, and it's a good start there from Ben Lightoller. Third on the grid, but charging down into Old Hall and off down the avenue with Grant Whittaker up and doing an amazing second place, and Pat Sheridan challenging around the outside of Cascades. Tom Gazzard tucked in there in fourth place. Again, they stream out along Lakeside towards Ireland, and there, well, at the moment, a little bit of a gap. Ben Lightoller leads, and Pat Sheridan just ducks underneath Grant Whittaker there. Tom Gazzard hugging the inside at Shell as well. Now it's the sharp run up to the Britain chicane and then over Hilltop and down into Hislop. Lightoller and Sheridan gone through. There's Grant Whittaker, Tom Gazzard, Ashley Chivers. Then Ben Grindrod ahead of Paul Hinchcliffe, number 52 there. We see somebody else out breaking themselves mightily and wandering off down the runoff area. Knickerbrook and regaining. As we mentioned earlier, you cannot take advantage of that. And look at this, the leaders over the lumps and bumps coming down from Druids into Lodge, and Tom Gazzard going to the inside of Grant Whittaker. There we see Nick Clark recovering after that, a really dreadful first lap, considering he started on pole, just trying to run around the outside of Paul Hinchcliffe there. Down into Old Hall, leaders already through and running down the avenue towards Cascades. And Ben Lightoller having an excellent race. Pat Sheridan, well, qualified fourth, but he's out there trying desperately to do something about the lead. But look at this, what a recovery from Nick Clark. You saw how far back he was down the field, but he's worked his way up into fourth, and he's absolutely flying at the moment. Fastest man out there. And there he is, he's up into third. He's got ahead of Grant Whittaker. Then Tom Gazzard still tucked in behind. Tom, who's spends most of his season at the moment serving abroad. He's in the RAF and not able to take in a full season's rating, but it's always good to see him back in this country. And he rides with the RAF Roundel. There he is, number 87. And he's being pursued by Conor Bean. Used to see him as a super team, but this is his first ride on a 600. He's being pursued by Ashley Chivers and Danny Hedger. And meanwhile, further back, Stuart Parsons chasing Matt Brown down Deersley. And up across the grid to complete another lap. Meanwhile, at the front, look at this, Pat Sheridan closing on Ben Lightoller. He's going to look up the inside at Shell, and he's going to make it work, but he drifts a little wide on the exit. And Ben says, sorry, mate, here I come. Now, this great battle just behind that leading group. Dan Fowler there, ahead of Ben Grindrod. Once again, running up from Shell now. Over Hilltop, here they come. Ben Lightoller, Pat Sheridan, but look at the gap. There was quite a gap behind them, and it shrunk considerably. Nick Clark is absolutely flying. Well, having set a wonderful pole time, here's the battle. Grant Whittaker ahead of Conor Bean now, and Tom Gazzard, Danny Hedger tucked in behind. This absolutely brilliant stuff. This, the second group, but out the front, the battle for the lead, and it's down to two, and there's a cloud of dust, and that means, well, who have we got? It's Pat Sheridan that's disappeared. Nick Clark just slips up the inside at Lodge. Ben Lightower loses the company of Pat Sheridan. There we can see Pat walking safely away in the background, but that means that this wonderful battle is now a battle for the third podium place, and it's being headed at the moment by, well, Grant Whittaker and Conor Bean right on his case, running down towards Old Hall Corner, and still under pressure from Ashley Chivers and Danny Hedger. Dan Fowler here, they come down to Cascades. Grant Whittaker running a little wide there, and Conor Bean showing great interest about running up the inside towards Ireland. But look at this, the leaders, Nick Clark, stonking race, but Ben Lightower not prepared to give it up yet. Here he is, runs a little high and wide around Shell. That's enough for Nick Clark, just nicks back to the front. And here, Grant Whittaker absolutely determined to stay ahead of Conor Bean. Goodness me, Danny Hedger just getting unshipped there, but he stays on board. Whoa, Danny, big moment at Shell as the leaders come down once again from Hilltop, and oh goodness me, Nick Clark, well, he was just too late on the brakes there, but Ben Lightower had to go across the grass to avoid him, neither of them taking the chicane, both glaring at each other there. But well, there's Colin Stevenson, he's further back down the order, he'll have no idea about the stuff that's going on at the front. Here we are once again. Well, the last lap flag has been shown, it's all down to the checkered flag. Now side by side, Ben Lightower, number 5, 25, taking the lead is Nick Clark, and he tucks it under there, Androids, and away it goes, and oh dear, oh dear, sick as a dog. And the foot out, acknowledging the flag. Ben Lightower takes a superb win. Well, there we see Nick Clark giving it 101%, and it's just the 1% that tucks that front wheel away, and over he goes. Well, a wonderful press-on ride with a win to Ben Lightower. A great second to Grant Whittaker ahead of Conor Bean. Conor's first 600 race, great stuff. Ahead of Ashley Chivers, Dan Fowler and Danny Hedger. And there we see a very happy Ben Lightower. And with him, Grant Whittaker and Conor Bean.
It's my first time on a 600, so I've been looking forward to riding one. I'm on one, I'm on the podium. It's unbelievable, really. I went for second place on the last lap, but unfortunately someone come off on the, so it's yellow flag, so I couldn't pass. But yeah, I'm happy with it anyway. I didn't expect this.
Grant, it seems to have taken you a little while to get used to this 600 after the Super Teams last year. Finally starting to come good for you.
Yeah, I've just been progressively getting better, and just every time I go on the bike I just learn different things.
That was alright, we got a good start there and managed to get away at the front and just tried to keep my head down for a few laps. Pat came past me down at Shell Oils, managed to get back underneath him again, and then I'm told he went down at Druids, so I hope he's alright, but it's made the championship nice and interesting. I came in 44 points behind and now I'm 19, so...
Well, that overall podium, also the leading 3 junior stock sports. Now for the senior class, the winner was Dan Fowler from Colin Stevenson and Paul Hinchcliffe.
I had a good start, but then I just got beat up in the first couple of laps because I haven't really been racing much this year, and just a bit of confidence. Then once I got past a few people, got going and my lap times come down. But hopefully the next one I should be sort of like up there.
Well, we'll look forward to that later, but next up, after the break, the Triumph Triple Challenge. Well, welcome back to Oulton Park for the 7th round of the MRO T3 Challenge, and it is the T3's Triumph Triple Challenge. Up next, Mark Cheetham on pole position from Lance Carey, and Mark Kringle and David Jones completing that front row. We'll have a look back at the second row. Qualifying 8th fastest, Tom Fisher. Good performance from Tom to be alongside Reece Rothwell, Scott Rowbottom and Tim Venables. We can see Josh Wainwright and Toby Glenn there tucked in behind on the third row, but no more time as the red lights go out and away for the first of their couple of races that we're going to pick up. And it's a great start from Mark Kringle. And then we see Scott Rowbottom getting up ahead of Lance Carey. We're on board with the Ariston camera on David Jones's machine, and we're running down towards Cascades. David in 5th place and looking round left and right round Lance to see if he can get up to 4th. We've got the run along Lakeside towards Island Bend, and well, have we got enough? Not quite. Lance Carey just chopping across our nose, and meanwhile at the front, Mark Cheetham, something of a local rider from Chorley, not far down the road, gets up ahead of Mark Kringle, and there we see Paul Hughes through Shell chasing hard after Jack Sim. Jack, his wife, gave birth to a baby just a couple of nights ago, so the sleepless nights begin. Mark Cheetham then with Mark Kringle right behind him. Scott Rowbottom with the blue wheels in third place. Then Lance Carey still ahead of David Jones as they one running across the grass there, but staying on board. And that'll cost him nothing but half a dozen places in a bit of time. That's Richard Green, I think, just regaining his position there. But up the front, it's all about the two marks. And Mark Cheetham it is ahead of Mark Kringle. Lance Carey shaping to run up the inside as they go into Lodge there. Lance Carey can't quite make it, and there's Josh Wainwright making good progress further back. You see Ralph Laturco in the mix. There's Ralph just running across the grid there, and Jack Sim, the new dad, leading the TGG Cup for the over 25-year-olds coming into this weekend. And there, once more on board with David Jones. Lovely to have this Aris on camera. And good idea, he's still running in 5th place. There's the two marks, Scott Rowbottom and Lance Carey ahead. And there we see Lance sitting up for the hairpin. David Jones and Reese Rothwell tucked in behind, and just behind Reese there, the yellow-helmeted, red-leathered Tim Venables. Paul Hughes once again around Shell, and the leaders down into the chicane. There's David Jones on our camera bike, and there on cue, lovely shot of Lance Carey switching left and right and then chasing up Clay Hill under the bridge past the old water tower on the right, and then setting it up for Druids here at Oulton, as well as at Brands Hatch, of course. And then the blast down this series of, well, it's not that they're bumps, they're more lumps, over this little hilly, there you see a sort of corrugated effect as they run down into Lodge Corner. And there David Jones in 5th, running down through Deer Leap, and Lance Carey up alongside, and indeed just ahead of Scott Rowbottom. Scotty coming back at him as they cross the line, and from the Ariston on board of David Jones, we see Scott Rowbottom retake 3rd place. So we, along with David, chasing down the avenue into Cascades. Ooh, I thought we were going to line up for the inside there. Let's have a look around the outside instead. Can't quite find a way through Lance Carey. There's the two marks up the front. Scott Rowbottom back into 3rd. Lance Carey there in 4th, having tasted 3rd for about 10 metres. And heavy braking into Shell. And of course, just behind David Jones, you can see now that Tim Venables has got up ahead of Reese Rothwell. And they're over Hilltop. They come plunging down towards Knickerbrook and the Hislop chicane. And there, Josh Wainwright, having broken away from the pack behind, being led by Ralph Laturco. Ralph on the number 46 machine there is the second of the TGG Cup runners. Of course, the overall leader at the moment, Mark Cheetham, of the TGG Cup in this race. And there we see Andy Marriott being chased hard by James Stone, but Paul Hughes sandwiched in between them as the leaders come down towards us. Mark Cheetham, Mark Kringle, and once more Ariston on board with David Jones. Oh, look at this. And Lance Carey getting a real run on Scott Rowbottom, but Scott's going to try and fend him off as they cross the start-finish line. We've got a grandstand view of this. Maybe we can sneak up the middle. No, we can't. Scotty resumes his 3rd place, and Lance trying absolutely everywhere, but can't find a way past him. And side by side they are down to Cascades, and well, give it the gun. Come on, David. And us. Here we go, down inside of Cascades. We are up into 4th. And yes, we are, and chasing hard now after Scott Rowbottom. And I think I'm working the accelerator and Dave Jones doing the brakes. Here we go, down towards Ireland. And there's the two marks. But where's us? There we are, in 4th place, number 89. And look at this, Tim Venables just slipping underneath Lance Carey there as well. So Lance losing out a couple of spots. Reese Rothwell on the back of that group. And there we see the turkey, Ralph Laturco, just being outdone by Shane Parsons there. This is Shane's best run of the season, and he's going like a train. the Shane train. And there we see David Jones putting Scott Rowbottom under pressure, but Scott's equal to it. So David Jones and us settling back there and running through the... Goodness me, that's Rhys Rothwell and Lance Carey. Well, they're both going to lose out in terms of time and position there, as the leader once more coming down from Druids towards Lodge, and this looking very comfortable at the moment for Mark Cheetham. It's less comfortable behind. Mark Kringle under big pressure. Scott Rowbottom right on his rear tyre, and David Jones getting his face in there as well. Great race from Jones. Last that flag is held aloft by Lindsay on the start line. 2 marks have gone through there. Scott Rowbottom, David Jones into Old Hall. Now, come on, we're on board. See if we can give it the gun. Well, sorry about this, Scott, but we're on board. Come on! Coming down towards Cascades, but Scott Rowbottom, lovely line through there. The Michelin Young Gunner already taken wins this season at Davy Jones. Well, he'd love to get on this podium. Have we got the run up the inside? I think Scotty will be right with us. There he is, just chopping across our bows as we run down through Ireland into Shell. Mark Cheetham already through. There's Mark Kringle in second. Scott Rowbottom and David Jones, this leading 4, breaking away from the pack. Half a lap to go. And there's Shane Pearson being chased hard by Tom Fisher ahead of Ralph Laturco. And then we see Toby Glenn and Ben Cater. Great scraps going on all the way down the field in this Triumph Triple Challenge race, but up the front there, a little bit of an advantage from Mark Cheetham. Absolutely nothing in it behind us. Scott Rowbottom nips up into second ahead of Mark Kringle. Davy Jones gets his face in there as well. This one will run to the flag. Second, third and fourth. And here, the battle as we see Toby Glenn there just nipping past Ralph Laturco. But Ralph still second of the TGG Cup runners. Under pressure from Ben Cater, in fact, as he runs up the hill. So he could lose that position. Leaders down towards us once again for the last time, and it is Mark Cheetham now. Scott Rowbottom just hanging on there on the inside of Druids from Mark Kringle. David Jones with him to the flag, but there, the win to Mark Cheetham. Scott Rowbottom will love every inch of that. Fantastic stuff to the end of this race there. Tim Venables crossing the line in 6th. And, well, let's see the end of this scrap. Toby Glenn looks as though he might pick up another place before the flag. He's just squeezed out as they run through Dearly. And there, the new dad, Jack Sim, nearly didn't think he'd make this weekend, but he got permission from his wife to come and play. But Jack further back down the field as Mark Cheetham takes the win from Mark Kringle. Scott Rowbottom finished 3rd ahead of us and David Jones. Josh Wainwright was 5th, and Rhys Rothwell rounding out top 6. And there, Mark Cheetham from Chorley, not far down the road from Oulton Park, taking a dominant win in the TGG Cup from Ralph Laturco. Ben Cater 3rd, Jack Sim 4th, Paul Hughes 5th, and Richard Green in 6th place. Very happy chappy, Mark Cheetham, with Ralph Laturco and Ben Cater.
I got very tired at the end of the race, so I couldn't keep up with them. But, you know, I was just checking where Ben Cater was and tried to keep him behind. So, yeah, it's all thanks to my sponsors, Rider Support, SBK and Always Sex. Thank you.
Well, Mark, TDG Cup winner, overall winner. Once you hit the front, you just sort of got your head down and went for it.
Yeah, that's right. I couldn't wait to come and ride the Triumph here. It's such a good bike and it's such a good track here at Oulton. I came with a plan to open a massive can of whoop ass, and that's what I've done so far. That's what I'll hopefully do in the second race as well.
That must be the 58th variety. Now the Michelin Young Guns, and the winner was Mark Kringle from Scott Rowbottom. David Jones and our camera finished 3rd ahead of Josh Wainwright, Rhys Rothwell and Tim Venables. So on the podium, Mark Kringle, yes, very happy chappy, with Scott Rowbottom and David Jones.
David, this is the closest thing to a home track for you, and your first podium, you must be over the moon.
Yeah, I know. Got off to a good weekend and just been getting better and better. But yeah, basically it's home for me.
Now, 4th place overall, but that was a good scrap for 2nd.
Yeah, I know. Tried really hard, pushed and pushed. Didn't get so well off the line, but I just tried, and as soon as I saw a gap, I went for it. I just fair play. They obviously they were slightly quicker than me, but I tried my best.
It was a good result really, because I've been struggling on the Friday. I just can't master the track. It's quite challenging. But yeah, to run with Mark, and then I was trying to make moves on him at the end, and it was a brilliant race really, fantastic.
Winner of the Michelin Young Guns and extending that championship lead.
Yeah, good. It was a good race. I was trying to tag onto the cheats at the beginning there, but it started losing ground to him. And after that, I started riding a bit defensive because I seen plus only half a second on the board and that like. So I knew the boys were there all the time. But yeah, good race. Had a good battle with Scott on the last lap there. It's good fun.
Great, we'll see more of the triumphs later, but after the break, it's back to the action with the 600s. And welcome back to Oulton Park. It's Dynapro Supersport 600s once again, and Rob Hoyles, number 59, pulling up on the pole position alongside him. Karen Hankin and Billy Mellor on the outside of that front row. Ooh, and they're Romford's finest. Keeping a watch on proceedings as red lights on, out they go, and away go another batch of 600s flying down towards Old Hall Corner. The Old Hall long since gone, having been burnt down in 1926 and then finished off with bombs during the early part of the war. But, all the action at Oulton Park these days on the track, with Karen Hankin chasing hard after Rob Hoyles. And then further back, and down, that looks like the bike of Mike Edwards there at Ireland as Rob Hoyles comes down towards Knickerbrook. Billy Mellor there in third, chasing after Karen Hankin. There we see Chase Collier. Somebody else outbreaking themselves and flying through the runoff area. Meanwhile, Ben Cater obviously went off at the same time as Mike Edwards, but he recovers and gets back to the track. So all sorts of action on the very first lap. There we see Cy Langford there carrying out number 7, of course, as we said earlier, on behalf of Max Exton, who's recovering in hospital. And Cy honouring him with the number 7 this weekend at Oulton Park. We all wish you could be here with us. Rob Hoyles leading, and Karen Hankin not that far back down the road, and Billy and Mellor pressing hard. And there we see Max Hunt, the leading clubman there in 4th place. And that's Mel Carter. Now Mel's further back down the field, just coming around the hairpin, running up towards Hilltop, but leaders down towards Lodge. Rob Hoyles got away in the earlier race, but they're stuck to him like the proverbial this time. They're not letting him go. There, Pat Sheridan, uncharacteristically further back down the field, going down to Dear Lee. There, Chase Collier running up alongside Richard Marchant, and Chase has got the inside line down through Old Hall. Richard won't want to let him go. And then we see Dave Shelby being chased hard by Sarah Jordan and Jason Holland in there as well, with Rob Hollingsby. But meanwhile, look at this, Karen Hankin. Sweeps right, beautifully done at the hairpin to take the lead, and Rob Hoyles really out fumbled there. And there, James Wainwright under pressure from Derek Pickett. And there we see Keith Watt being chased hard by Danny Imberg, and both having fun in this. But up the front, Karen Hankin. Look at this, Rob Hoyles, he hasn't dropped him. Rob right back in there and looking to the outside as they go through the chicane, and Billy Mellor's right there to pick up the pieces, but Rob Hoyles has the line as they exit the chicane and run up Clay Hill towards Druids, and now over the lumps and bumps down into Lodge Corner. So Karen Hankin once again just drops it underneath Rob Hoyles there, and Rob has to give best. So Hankin it will be that leads across the start finish line this time. Hoyles in second, Mellor in third. These three just slightly away up the road on the pack. Exit of Old Hall. Down the, avenue in name only towards Cascades. And Rob Hoyles having nipped past, just maintaining that advantage there. Chase Collier ahead of Max Hunt and Richard Marchant. That's the chasing group. Once again at the front at Shell, into that tight dished hairpin with an uphill exit go the leaders. Billy Mellor in third place there, but Chase Collier, look at that, Richard Marchant just gets underneath Max Hunt. Max still the leading clubman runner in this, his rookie year, remember, but leading the clubman in this race as Rob Hoyles. Well, so far a perfect day's racing for Rob Hoyles. Picked up the win in the earlier racing. He looks as though he's broken away there. Dave Shelby and Mal Carter side by side through the hairpin. And Dave, well, not the newest of machinery that Dave Shelby's on, but he pedals it as hard as you like. And then we see Karen Hankin and Billy Mellor chasing, but it's the last run to the checker flag, and they're not going to catch Rob Hoyles. Rob takes the win. He's chuffed by that. Karen Hankin second, and Billy Mellor in third place. Max Hunt finished fourth and leading clubman ahead of Chase Collier and Richard Marchant. And there we see an even happier now Rob Hoyles with Karen Hankin and Billy Mellor.
Billy, bit more of a tight race that time, but only third position.
Yeah, another disappointing race. I don't like making excuses, but my bike's dog slow compared to theirs, so it makes it twice harder to compete with them. So just disappointed again.
But no, even that, it's going very well, and you put on a great performance this weekend.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it, and I'd just like to thank Jay Davidson for all their help this weekend, and obviously my mum and dad and everybody who comes with us.
Kyron, that was a brilliant scrap there with Rob, and I thought you were going to get that one.
Well, I did too at one point, with a couple of laps to go, but unfortunately it got a few spots of rain on my visor and just had a few slides and just didn't know how hard to push, and I was just glad to be, up at the front having a bit of a battle like so.
Rob, we saw you win race 1, another brilliant victory in race 2, gone well at Oulton.
Yeah, surprising really. I've not gone here historically very well in the past, but no, just bike seems to be working brilliantly, and got away in the first one, had a bit more of a scrap in the second one, but all in all, brilliant weekend, so fantastic. Just want to say a quick thanks to Chris Wells at X Bikes if I can, also to Trev, Terry and Pat at Fibre XL for the fairings, and also a big thanks to John Ranger at Race Graphica just for all their help this season, because couldn't do it without them, so thanks a lot.
Max Hunt, winner of the Clubman class again, but so far nearer the front runners this time.
Yeah, it was much better. Got a really good start this time, so really happy. Got into fourth from the start and sort of had a bit of a battle with Chase Collier and a couple of others, but managed to Richard Marchant and so on, but managed to claw back up to fourth on the last corner, so it was a real epic race. So yeah, really happy with this one.
So second again. Can't do much about Max at the moment.
No, it's not really. A bit of brake fade really. That's about it. Back to lever, and I don't know. Try harder next time. That's all we've got to do.
Derek Pickett, third place in the Clubman's class there. You must be pleased with that one.
Yeah, really pleased. It's a good race. Nearly had the second, but it got me back on the last lap, the last corner, and yeah.
Well done, Del Boy. But next up, it's the Pirelli Metzler Stock Sport 600s, and Nick Clark hoping to make amends, having dropped it on the last lap earlier on. Well, thank you very much, Ashley Chivers. He's second on the grid. Alongside him, Ben Lightower and Pat Sheridan. Tom Gazzard once again lining up with Grant Whitaker, Danny Hedger and Dan Fowler, but away they run. Oh, Tom Gazzard, what a wonderful start. Well, a flying start really from the man in the RAF. But, spots of rain on the lens there, so they're going to have to be a little bit careful. The clouds are dark, but look at this. Nick Clark is away at the front of it. Then it's Pat Sheridan and Ben Lightower as they come into Shell, but it's getting a little damp underfoot as the the sound of a, oh goodness me, that's Ben Lightower down there on the exit of Shell. Oh yes, absolutely, hands up, it is damp above. And Nick Clark, meanwhile up the front, Pat Sheridan. These are the two riders who, remember, were fighting it out in the earlier race. Neither of them made the finish, but Pat Sheridan just eases through to take the lead ahead of Nick. Tom Gazzard is up next ahead of Grant Whitaker. Well, they do have to be so careful in these conditions. Danny Hedger chasing hard. A lot of these riders were Aprilia Super-Teens not that long ago, and they're now moving up into 600s. So there's a mixture of the experience and not a lot of experience out there. Grant Whitaker just looking up the inside. Tom Gazzard can't quite get round. You can see the RAF roundel there on the back of Gazzard's leathers. But seemingly these slippery conditions holding no fears for Pat Sheridan. Oh, maybe they should. Oh, Pat, you've scuttling it down the road, and the bike is on the circuit, and that really is an uncomfortable place there at Lodge, and the other bike's filing past. And can Pack get it started? Well, he's got the levers on there, but he doesn't seem to want to play. That's up the front. Now, Nick Clark being chased by Grant Whittaker and Danny Hedger. Look at this, Danny up the inside at Shell. These two young riders, relatively new to the 600 scene, and fantastic battle between the two of them. They were mixed up in that wonderful five-way chase of the leaders earlier on, but now the two of them have got it all to themselves at the moment. Just Nick Clark up the road ahead of them, and look at him teetering on the brink there as they pass Lodge, where Pat Sheridan binned it last time round. Across the line, and race shortened there due to the change in weather conditions. And there, Paul Hinchcliffe, and just ahead of him, and dumping it to Stuart Parsons. Stuart's up and okay, but it's very slippery out there. So the win in the end to Nick Clark from Grant Whittaker. Tom Gazzard was third, Paul Hinchcliffe fourth, James Surfer Boy Ashby finished fifth ahead of Ben Grindrod. Well, happy, he'll take them however they come. Good win for Nick Clark.
Nick finally got the win, a bit of a make-up after that first race.
Yeah, I was quite disappointed with the first race, obviously, after sort of reeling the guys in. But yeah, that made up for it. I was just really pleased to stay on in the second one because it was real slick. So.
And very slick indeed. Tom Gazzard takes the senior win from Paul Hinchcliffe and Surfer Boy James Ashby.
It was pretty tough out there. It was really slippery. I was trying to gauge the person in front of me just to see. I let a few of them go, and I was just going to see like how much they were moving around. And you sort of gauge, and you just start to brake a bit later, and then you try and get on the gas a bit earlier than them, and just try and stay with them. And a few guys were going down, so yeah, it was good fun. Interesting.
All right, well, congratulations, podium. Cheers, mate.
Brilliant. Can I have a couple of thank yous?
Yes.
Yeah, can I just thank Aquatherm Sales UK and Royal Air Force for their financial support this year.
Thank you, Tom. Now then, more great action after the break as the weather deteriorates from the Triumph Triple Challenge. Well, back here at Oulton Park, and it's Triumph Triple Challenge time again with Mark Cheetham, Lance Kerry, Mark Kringle and David Jones on the front row. But, well, could be a few gamblers out there. The weather conditions are a little bit iffy, so tyre choice is going to be ultra important. A huge sigh there from David Jones. Right, eyes down for a full house. Who's riding on what, and will the weather conditions remain kind to the Triumphs? Off they go. Scott Rowbottom, a wonderful start there, absolutely yelping through from that second row of the grid, and down they come from Old Hall and the Avenue into Cascades. Tim Venables there, great start up into third place already, and there we see Ralph Turco and Josh Wainwright making very good progress, doing two of them around Cascades, but as in the earlier race, at the moment, it's number 15, Mark Cheetham, out the front. Tim Venables slips through into second place at the hairpin. Now the steep drive up the hill, negotiating the Britain chicane, and then over hilltop. And once more down towards us. Tim Venables there in second, and look at that, that's Ben Cater. Ben Cater up into third as we look further back down. There's Rhys Rothwell turning into the chicane, just being pursued hard by Ralph Turco. And Jack Sim, well, Jack, what are you doing back there? I reckon Jack may not be on the right tyres for these conditions. It's looking a little more slippery as the lap goes on. But what a performance this. Great start, and here comes Ben Cater. Ben, what's he have for lunch? He's up the inside, and he takes the lead at Druids. There, Ralph Turco finished second of the TTG Cup runners earlier, and looking for more of the same now as, well, Mark Kringle getting outbraked there on the run down to Old Tour. I reckon there's more than one of these riders who've maybe picked the wrong rubber for the track conditions. And up front, Mark Cheetham looking all cool, calm, collected. He's got back to the front ahead of Ben Cater and Tim Venables. And there we see Scott Rowbottom, who made that good start, but he's chasing hard after Josh Wainwright. Josh having an absolute stormer this time round. Further back, Richard Green there, up from the hairpin. Ben Cater, well, this so far almost ride of the season from him, but David Jones through into the chicane, last of the late breakers there, so whatever he's got on his boots, he feels fairly certain. You can see more and more rain coming down, but Cheetham it is still from Ben Cater. Look up into third now, goes Josh Wainwright, and Scotty Rowbottom trying to go around the outside of Tim Venables, and there David Jones keeping a watching brief as they go up from Deer Leap to the start finish line. Oh, and now the wind really driving this rain across as they come down from Old Hall into Cascades, and it'll be straight into their faces now as they run along Lakeside and down towards Island Bend. This is going to get very uncomfortable indeed, but well, Mark Cheetham, local lad, so he's used to the conditions. Fantastic though, not local, but seemingly he just doesn't care about the conditions. Josh Wainwright up into a good second place, and Scott Rowbottom there ahead of Tim Venables. They're running in 4th and 5th, and further back Toby Glenn. Toby having a good battle there with Tom Fisher, two of the Michelin Young Guns. They're chasing Ralph Laturco up towards Hilltop as the leaders come over the brow. Ben Cater in 3rd. Tim Venables having this superb battle with Scott Rowbottom. Scotty's going to outbreak him once again into his, and he just gets away with that, keeps it all upright. Fantastic battle there for 4th and 5th, but up the front, it's all about the amazing chase. Josh Wainwright, and he's got past Mark Cheetham. This is a fantastic ride from young Josh. He seemingly cares less about these slippery conditions. Josh Wainwright then assumes the lead from Mark Cheetham, and Ben Cater, still this brilliant ride by Ben as well. And Mark Cheetham and Ben Cater, 1 and 2 in the TDG Cup at the moment. There's Tim Venables, 2nd of the Michelin Young Guns, running in 4th place. Now, seems to have a bit of a gap back to Scott Rowbottom at the moment, as Tim Venables. As we see Paul Hughes there, being followed by Ricky Chadwick. Ricky, who won the inaugural TGG Cup, that was last season of course. Twitching there up the hill, but not twitching at all. Number 55, Josh Wainwright. Oh, goodness me, he does look comfortable. Well, Ben Cater, I tell you what, he's catching Mark Cheetham, and Reece Rothwell there, running a little wide at the hairpin, but maybe gives him a better line around, trying to get round Scott Rowbottom. We'll see what happens as they come over Hilltop. Josh Wainwright through, then Ben Cater. This is a fantastic performance. Ben outbreaking Mark Cheetham into the chicane. The two of them battling over the TDG Cup lead in this race. So Ben Cater's got it at the moment from Mark Cheetham. And there we see Tom Fisher and Ralph Laturco. There's Toby Glenn and Ricky Chadwick. Ricky, well, not had such a good season, picked up some nasty injuries earlier on this year, and not quite back up to speed since then, but up to speed. And with about a quarter of a lap to go, it is Josh Wainwright. Josh having a long leisurely look over the shoulder there. Yes, you've done it, Josh. Fantastic performance by Josh Wainwright. Yes, and he knows it. And I tell you what, an equally good one from Ben Cater. Yes. Oh, Ben, you'll have to nail his mouth down to stop him smiling after this. Lovely stuff from the two of them. I tell you what, just couldn't be more equally pleased. Josh Wainwright then, the overall win from Ben Cater. Mark Cheetham 3rd, Tim Venables 4th, Shane Pearson an excellent 5th place, and Scott Rowbottom finished 6th. Well, there we see Josh Wainwright. The conditions, nothing to him. Screamed through the pack. Good win. And the win in the Michelin Young Guns from Tim Venables, Shane Pearson, Scott Rowbottom, Mark Pringle, and our camera bike, David Jones. And there we see a very happy Josh Wainwright. Good win from Tim Venables and Shane Pearson.
Your first podium, Shane, so very pleased.
Very pleased, yeah. Missed the last 2 rounds through sponsors dropping out. Couldn't have dreamed of anything better this weekend. Absolutely brilliant.
Took a gamble at the start of the race because no one knew what I was going to do. Put full dries on, and it was great. Well, it wasn't great. It was good for the first 2 or 3 laps, and then it just got wetter and wetter. And I knew a few people who were on different tyres, and I seen them come past, and just thought, I'm not going to be able to keep up with them. So I just thought, concentrate on keeping the 2 wheels on the ground and just staying on the bike, because it was difficult all the way around.
Josh, a masterly display of wet weather riding there, but you had to come through.
Yeah, it was a bit technical because the first couple of laps was a bit dry, and I could see that everyone was having a bit of slides here and there, so I thought if I just buy my time I could get past and just make a gap. And thanks to my dad for the decision. I was arguing with him in the pits, dries all the way. He put the wets on and got the win, so I'm really pleased with that, yeah.
So he should be. And now the Michelin Young Guns. In the championship, Mark Kringle still leads, but Josh Wainwright closes in. 3rd, Scott Rowbottom. 4th, Lance Carey. 5th, Reece Rothwell. And 6th, Tim Venables. And there, a shot of Ben Cater. Wonderful race by him. He won the TDG Cup from Mark Cheetham. Ricky Chadwick was 3rd. Andy Batt 4th. Ralph Turco finished 5th. And Paul Hughes a good 6th place. So, an extremely happy Ben Cater, being joined on the podium by Mark Cheetham and Ricky Chadwick.
Ricky, finally we see you on the podium again this year. It's been a nightmare for you.
It's not been the best of seasons, mainly due to injuries. I dislocated my hip early on and broke a collarbone, and it's just been hard work. And today coming 3rd is really helped. It's down to the team making the right tyre choice at the end of the day, a last-minute decision, and well, it's a 50-50 gamble. Obviously, we've gone the right way.
Ben Cater, what can I say? Brilliant ride, mate, brilliant.
It was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I want to thank my mechanic Rob, because he did a brilliant bike setup, but as soon as I saw people leaving lines across the track, and I thought it's going to rain, bring it on, fantastic.
Is that the old dispatch rider diesel through London instincts coming out in you?
Yeah, indeed, yeah, exactly right. I was going round thinking it's not a race, you're just riding home from band practice, don't do anything stupid. And the end didn't come soon enough for me, I can tell you.
Well, the end changes championship points because Mark Cheetham assumes the lead of the TGG Cup by just 3 points from Jack Sim. Ralph Turco 3rd, Ricky Chadwick 4th, Paul Hughes 5th, and Andy Batt 6th. Oh, the rain, it pours down at Oulton Park. Let's hope for some sunshine when we meet again in a couple of weeks at Snetterton in Norfolk.